payoff because Monsanto, I think, does have a pretty decent lineup for countering what Flood is, or for what Flood is trying to counter. He's got Warlock, which I think Flood's decks should theoretically do pretty well against Warlock, but the real deck is OTK Demon Hunter. That's what the glides are in there for in this Demon Hunter. That's what like Ildar Inquisitor and Felsu Executioner in this deck are for. That's what he's playing Hand Buff Paladin for, right? All these big, disruptive, board-centric decks.
Something that I like about this glide in this deck is this deck does sometimes need a refill. So it's not, as he's got the hat on, once again, it's not just a tech card. It's a tech card that has a rough use as well as being a tech card. And I always like that with tech cards. If you can make them actually serve your purpose and be a tech card, they're so much better. Unlike this hat, which has taken a bit of a beating over the last few weeks. Like when he beat Monsanto previously, I think he threw it on the floor in excitement, and it's messed it up a bit.
Yeah, the hat over the hoodie. A very cool strategy going on here from Fled to try and get in his opponent's head. His opponent's head, which, by the way, his opponent cannot see.
Yeah,
they don't see each other. But whatever. Interesting choice right off the bat from Illidari. He's going to go with Chaos Leech. I can make a case for most of those, actually. Kurtrus is probably the weakest because of the expected board state. But drawing a couple Death Rattles out of your deck seems fine. But I like the choice considering he has Blackthorn in hand. Actually going to use the coin here. And maybe a Glide to come next turn. Assuming that Monsanto's going to be drawing.
Yeah, the Leech could be pretty handy going back in the deck later on if he is thinking of gliding now, because there will come a time in his future when he has to deal with 8/8s and things, sort of 8/6s. It's pretty handy at taking off 5 damage. The rest of your minions should be able to tidy up the rest on those. So, not the worst card to be shuffling in. Just going back to, it looked a bit weird if you're going to shuffle a Chaos Leech into your minion deck, but actually, I can see how that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if he knew the Glide was there, he would touch instantly. He's going to make a nod towards it because of the Illidari Studies on 1 and then a hold and a coin.
This might turn into a weird game of chicken where they both end up knowing that the Glide is there. Monsanto certainly doesn't know that at the moment. This is easy, just a coin 3 into 3. But force Monsanto to use some cards, then surprised by not playing the Glide because you've actually won the board anyway because he's playing too carefully, or the opposite way around. Yeah, plays too aggressively and you just get to turn 7 and kill him.
Yep.
This is hard. This is really difficult.
Yeah, weirdly enough, my instinct was to just play the Null and take the 4/3 trade.
Yeah.
But that's because I know what Flood has, right? Double Race in hand makes that more appealing. He could go.
So this is why.
Stable.
Yeah, I got to this conclusion about playing the Null because of this, right? This tap line just is the only other available line, and it doesn't look that much fun. But again, we can see the Glide. Monsanto has to factor in a percentage of the time that the Glide isn't there.
Okay.
Most of his turn. Oh, that's a good pickup, though.
Some okay pickups, yeah.
Also,
yes, that
that
will do quite nicely.
Chaos Leech obviously will take care of it, but now he's got a decision to make as to whether he just wants to pretend it's not there and hope that Monsanto can't kill too many things, just develop naturally, or whether he wants to just leech it away.
I can't leech it away.
Not now.
Or
You look like you love a good deal.
yeah. So he has the second peddler in hand. Monsanto obviously wouldn't know this. He can always trade it away when he wants to trade in the peddler. But if Monsanto were to attack into this, it would get no value. But I like it just because Fled playing it would very likely mean that it would be in the deck instead of in the hand.
Yep. Yes, it's a tidy little bluff.
Nice and tidy.
Yeah, it's just sensible, right? I like it. Monsanto's got so much removal in hand, but I think he just wants to develop more board, right?
Yeah. Gonna trade over the persistent peddler or kick the trade.
Force you down to 20, take the shield off ready to touch next turn, force the 2/2 back into you, or even nothing, okay.
We could see that it would have been fantastic for him to take that trade, because it would have just been a straight up 1-for-1, which would have been great. Especially with a raised dead in hand. But obviously, you know, because of the reasons I mentioned last turn, there's no way he can just put him on that. Flood gonna trade away the peddler. Monsanto, yeah, that face says it all.
He's also not expecting a Chaos Leech to be on the left-hand side, which is going to make this race really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to keep racing. Not much you can do about an 8/8 apart from put loads of resources in. And this Demon Hunter deck isn't built to have, put 3 minions into one, is it? It's built to just keep hitting you and make you do the resource wasting.
Yep.
And now there's a peddler in the deck.
Well, not anymore, right? Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, now the peddler's actually a good card on the board because Fled calculated that Monsanto wouldn't take it down last turn, and now he's got to put it back in his deck. That's great.
Yeah. Monsanto can still go, like, Soul Ren trade Raise Dead? And then Flesh Giant would cost 1? I think
this one
this stage?
This one cost 3 or 4. Yeah, I think 1's right. It's possible less because we saw a backfire at some point. I may have missed that. Monsanto might just be wondering if he can just sink a load of removal into all this lot and just win with an 8/8 versus nothing at this point as well.
You look like you love a good deal.
Sort of like this.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is actually a pretty creative play. Using the Mortal Coil not for draw, but instead to gain some life and still be able to push some damage. Waterfalls can't attack. And I don't think Monsanto is really worried too much about the cost of his cards because this 8/8 just hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah, there's very little removal in Fled's deck. And Monsanto kind of wants to get it done before Fled gets to 8 mana. He doesn't want to see a Blackthorn now, but there was a glide not long ago. It'd be unlucky for him if that was in hand. But before the Illadaris start doing their thing, you've got to put that damage in.
Yep.
We'll cut right to the chest.
All right, well, this is a lot of resources to kill off.
Yeah.
It doesn't kill it off, but it kind of does. He saw Mortal Coil on a touch last turn, and it's very unlikely that this Flesh Giant actually makes it through.
Yeah, that's clever. That's reacting to the fact that Monsanto used so much last turn that now it's Fled's turn to say, well, I can afford to put a lot into this if I have to. I don't like it because I'm getting out Warlocked, but it's what Warlocks do. But this is nice, nicely worked out. trouble is, it's not menacing, is it?
No. So Monsanto wants to get through his deck here. He could trade in the 8-1 into a 1-1 and accomplish the same thing, but only discard 3 cards, but he actually wants to get towards the bottom of his deck.
Okay.
Just to make sure that when he gets the Scavengers and the second Bristleback, that he's going to be able to play him, and also it gets him closer to Fatigue to have that secondary win condition of Tamsin.
Okay. Yeah, he's just putting on pressure from all angles now.
Yep.
Card draw, quest is ticking away, 0 mana 8/8.
Yep. And he's got the Battlemaster in hand, so Fled has to find some way to get through this.
We'll just have a little.
Salida and hit the Battlemaster? Okay, hits the Battlemaster, so not dead.
Yeah.
Very close to it, and there's only 9 cards left in deck, so wouldn't be able to get it with the Backfire because wouldn't have the mana available to play it.
How about the only card you're scared of here really is Blackthorn, so you double alter to try and get rid of as many cards from Fled's Death Rattle pool and try and get lucky that way. On top of all the obvious things like playing monstrous, massive things.
Yeah. I don't think it's particularly necessary at this point, is the only thing.
Yeah, actually. In fact, does Fled have
you could just get him closer to whatever card he would want at this stage.
No, my point being that Blackthorn, there's only a finite number of Death Rattles, so if you burn them, it might matter. But I don't think Blackthorn's even an out in this position, so I think I'm talking nonsense.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, just throw everything on the board instead. Okay.
Yep. And yeah, I don't think Blackthorn is even an out. I think Monsanto just wins every time from this point on. It's a Fellsteel Executioner. That is certainly what he wanted to see.
Yeah, he's an executioner, but whose side is he on? Not Fled's right now.
I grow impatient.
I like this about Fled, by the way. Just checking he's not missing an interaction or something obvious here. Probably stealing himself for what deck he's going to pick in the next one.
Demons? Demons.
What's he looking at?
I don't know. Like, he's dead. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Just probably trying to take a second to gather himself before he jumps to the next one. But handlock done for Monsanto. Again, the matchup does hinge a lot upon the OTK Demon Hunter for Monsanto and whether or not that can get across the board. So we're going to be, scrutinizing those matchups a little bit more. Obviously, Glide in the Death Rattle Demon Hunter and just the nature of Death Rattle Demon Hunter having sort of these sticky boards can sometimes be difficult for handlock. But as soon as they get ahead on board, you can tell just how difficult it is for the Death Rattle Demon Hunter to get back. They rely on sticking the damage early because of their sticky boards, and then finishing the game with Inquisitors and Fellsteel Executioner Corrupted, that type of thing.
Yeah, and that can add up pretty quickly. And the OTK Demon Hunter, the removal tends to be 1-for-1, and that's just not how those Death Rattles work. You do want to just another one pops up in its place, like those cartoon boats where you get holes in the floor and you plug one with your finger, but another 2 spring up on the other side of the boat. Then you run across and you put your toes in there because that's how cartoon characters stretch, and they end up just fingers and toes and all the holes. The boat still sinks. And
only took us a little more than a match to get on the topic of boats. I'm proud of us, Neil.
It was
as a collective.
boat I was thinking of. I thought, well, we're not allowed points. We're not allowed $500. We're not allowed some other things we can't even talk about because we're not allowed them.
Yep, those ships have sailed.
So we're stuck with boats and beans and holes. That's it. That's all we got left. Monsanto playing Warlock. He is playing the one guild trader. That's largely a nod, I think, at least. I don't know if you disagree, to the possibility there would be control warriors in this fairly lively playoff group with people who might just bring anything at all, which was proved to happen, just not in the warrior way.
Yeah, the guild trader does have a lot of upsides. Kazakus is good in some of the super fast matchups or tempo matchups. But it can be awkward in a lot of situations just because of how expensive it is. And let's be honest, they're both the same cost. It's just that Guild Trader, let's say you get it from Secret Passage, you can trade it away, and that counts as an extra card draw. Mm-hmm. It allows you to play for tempo more aggressively with your Aug Merchants, with their Aug Merchants in the early game, knowing that, or use them for field contact to draw, knowing that you have like this additional spell damage kind of tucked away in your back pocket. So it also can, help you find a card that you absolutely need in the early game by trading it away. There's a lot of upsides to it.
Yep, obviously the downside, or it's not the downside, it's that there are different upsides to Kazakus, right? Kazakus also has a lot of upsides. You can find extra spell damage, which Guild Trader doesn't need to because it automatically does it, but sometimes you get the card draw. Guild Trader does that too, but you have to trade for it, and it puts it back in the deck, and it's another card you've got to cycle through to get to the bottom of your deck. Kazakus can also sometimes just make 2 5/5 golems and hit the opponent in the face and win the game. So those are the things you're giving up in return for those upsides of the Guild Trader. And again, if your opponents might bring Control Warrior, one card that gives you a good chance of beating it instead of losing to it seems like a good deal. And I think it's something that Monsanto is very on top of, is the chance of different people behaving a certain way.
Yes. All right. This is a pretty interesting hand. Flood's got quite a good hand. It's got Rampant Glowfly Swarm, which are, what you'd want in this matchup specifically. More so the Glowfly Swarm, I think, just because you don't want to fall behind on tempo. Monsanto has a lot of the ways to gain tempo, but not a ways to draw cards, at least for the time being.
Yeah, I think that means he's kind of locked into going for tempo, play a Secret Passage on turn 3 or 4, and just play whatever he can find and just go really wide and hope that Fled doesn't have Glowflies. That's sort of where I would go with this rogue hand. I'm sure Monsanto will find something a bit more cunning than that, but that's how it looks at the moment. Committing the Neophyte's a big deal because you are then committing to the tempo plays, but everything else looks kind of not where you want to be.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I guess Dagger's not a total waste. Wait a turn, see where you're at.
Having it, even though it might not just be disrupting the most stuff, I think just having a 3/2 on board and the potential disruption of Cult Neophyte is too good here.
Yeah, that was my instinct too. And Monsanto agrees, so it must be right. The best player in the region and therefore the world.
It must be right.
Not that we're putting loads of pressure onto Monsanto to represent the whole of the region for the rest of eternity. Oh. There's a lot of things that you want to do with 3 mana, isn't there? Not necessarily on their own. There's only the Shrouds that you really want to get out of a passage for 3 mana, but prepping into the passage so you can do a 2 and a 1 seems like a thing you should do here.
Yeah. I like the Shadow Step on the Neophyte.
Yeah.
He wants to block multiple different power turns next turn. It's tough though. Like this hand, he really needs some more juice, but Secret Passage, having to use the prep, He needs to find some good stuff to get this tempo going. Brain freeze, nope. Want Thief, okay.
Brain freeze is fine. Because you can brain freeze the Octo and just play this whole lot out.
The question is, do you even want to play it all out?
It got worse after I said it was fine in my defense.
Okay.
Your Honor. I'd only seen the brain freeze and the one thief at the time. Because now it's not so fine.
Well, he's just gonna play it, at least most of it out. Shooting Star, knowing that Glowfly Swarm is the biggest threat to his game plan for the time being.
Hey, there's a world where he activates 2 Octobots with it.
Okay, never mind. For me. I was like, didn't he play a Cold Neophyte? It's because he has Nature Studies. So he can Lightning Bloom and then Glowfly Swarm. The Glowfly Swarm will cost 6.
Here he goes.
And this is going to give Monsanto some information because there's a minion in hand, so there's only going to be 5 flies. Another Cold Neophyte.
Monsanto's going to get some more information next turn, which is that he is in a world of trouble.
Initiating overdrive.
Obviously, you have to take this threat seriously because of Arbor Up. You don't want to take it seriously because it's 5 stupid glowflies, but yeah.
Muzzle their magic.
Efficient is sufficient.
Give me that. Not what I want.
Now, assume he's shooting stars, but there is a world where he could save this shooting star, risk taking a load of damage to play around the next glowfly swarm if he drew spell damage. There's too many ifs in that sentence.
Yeah. Well, at least Fled is going to have a essentially dead turn here. I mean, he gets to kill some stuff on board, but Monsanto needs Shroud, a second secret passage.
Not Penflinger.
Not Penflinger. Anything but Penflinger.
It's just the worst card in his deck right now, isn't it? Even Guild
Yeah.
Trader, he could at least just plopped it on the board.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like Brain Freeze could have been pretty bad as well, or Prep. Prep would have been pretty bad as well.
We need to remember there are bleeds in the deck. That could be really important that he threw them in there from the secret passage earlier.
Yep. Ooh, okay. I would say that was necessary.
Okay.
Another happy guildie.
More bleeds?
Yeah.
Does he need to kill off anything to survive Arbor Up? 18 plus 12. If he kills
So yes, he
one,
does.
he needs to kill
Kill
one.
one would be 15 plus 10. So yeah, one's fine. Well, one's fine-ish.
Choose soon.
One is fine enough. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, you take it in this situation. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's going for the Garrot and the Hope, which makes sense.
Yep. So there are now 6 bleeds in the deck.
Fled's already hovered over his Innovate and his Ward, though.
Oh,
Another one, which makes this an easier play.
And of course you play the one off the top. You always play the one off the top.
Faith is my new.
It's not the best, but it's enough, right? Because he knows that Monsanto's completely out of stuff. If all 6 bleeds come off the top, it's still lethal.
Okay, good spot.
That is not a bleed. All right. Can he live through Arbor Up? He can go face with this, Shadow Step it.
Well, you Penfinger first, then you Shadow Step it.
Okay. And then Penflinger again, and then hold it for field contact draw.
Yep, I think so. He's held it every turn so far. I don't see how 1/1 challenges anything, so yeah.
Or is Penflinger better?
Or neither.
Alive to Arbra. 9, 16 plus 8, 24. If he takes off 1, then it would be 13 plus 6, 19. So if he needs to take off 1 more to survive Arbra. But if he does that, does he just call his bluff and say, my next draw needs to be field contact, I need 2 battle cries? Nah, I think this is correct. I think you play around Arbra.
Yeah, I think you might as well.
But now, the second one.
Nobody expects the second scenario, Ward.
Oh!
Too quiet.
He'd have had 2 draws.
Probably.
Still going.
Oh!
Keep open.
Oh!
Is that a noise in some of the books you've been reading recently?
Oh!
For my discretion.
Hey!
Still going. It's actually getting possible now.
Spell damage.
Oh my.
Spell damage. Oh! Well, this is awkward.
Just a bit. He can put his face into one of these and then kill it off.
That's an upgrade. Probably.
Nah, it's frozen. You give Divine Shield to get a win. Oh,
What was that noise? There's nothing to buff.
he just hit battle cry after battle cry after battle cry. That was glorious.
Is it broken? It's broken, isn't it?
It appears so. Do we have to add this to the level? But it's not a pack mule.
What? Look, since when has Ethereal Org Merchant broken things? Thank you, game.
All right, there we go. Drew a prep. All right, let me get a bleed.
Let's down to 7.
Bleed check. 2 bleeds left in deck.
Down to 7.
Yeah, with no Cenarian wards left, and can't even take off. Oh, it can't take off because these are nature spells. And now it can do it again and gets 2 rushes.
Sure. Okay. What a really weird game of Hearthstone. Field contact, but this time there is no way to get any draw.
No.
Only there's a Penflinger.
That'll be it, right? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Flood ties up the series. Ended up being a lot closer than I expected after that kind of start from Fled just having board after board, Monsanto missing field contact. The field contact pop-off turn made things interesting, at least for a little bit of time, but not interesting enough to change the outcome of the game. So we got ourselves a series now with Flood taking that dub.
Absolutely, yeah. Down to just 2 decks aside. Obviously, we've talked about this a lot, but Monsanto's still got to get his Demon Hunter out of here somehow. We haven't seen it yet, and that's still going to be a problem for him maybe going forwards. Plus, I want to hear more of those TJ sound effects. I was upset that chain was broken there, just as you were rolling with the noises.
He just ran out of gas there, and so did I because of it. But now we have the Grow Rug still left with the OTK Demon Hunter for Monsanto. We have the Death Rattle Demon Hunter and the Handlock for Fled that remains. So we'll see what's going to become of these next at least 2 games in this series. Our favorite Monsanto, not our favorite, probably the favorite based on performance and standard lineup, whichever way you want to put it.
The number 1 seed is how you word this in a neutral fashion. Because he won the seedings competition we just had for 7 weeks. Because every time he won a game, he got a point. And he got 19 match wins, which gave him 19 points. Which is more than anybody else in the region. And honestly, I mean, to put it in perspective, Gabby got 24, and Gabby sort of destroyed the entire region. Monsanto got 19 and effectively didn't turn up week 7.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
So he did pretty well. Now, he did win twice. He won two of the last hero standings he won twice, so did pretty well. And then Language Hacker also won one, so that pairing, obviously, I don't think they work together this week because they're in the same group, and that becomes really awkward, but they worked together for the whole season up until that point, and there's still what Monsanto did last week. Language Hackers sort of brought it this week. They obviously worked hard. So they won 3 of the tournaments out of 7 between them. It's a pretty good playtest group.
Yeah, that's quite impressive, to be honest. And we've said it kind of week after week, right? The only player that I think could challenge Monsanto for best lineups throughout the season, or Monsanto and Language Hacker, excluding last week, would probably be Dreadeye, to be honest, because he was one of the players that went against the grain nearly week after week. And I feel like many of his solid weeks were on the back of some fantastic lineup decisions. But other than that, I do think that there's just been some good lineups. And Fled has also had some success with lineup building. And he's another player that kind of goes against the grain a little bit.
As he cues, once again, his Death Rattle Demon Hunter with glides, just to make your point, at exactly the right time, as is your want, TJ. And he's going to be up against this Rogue, which... good luck fighting for board in this one, Monsanto. Kind of going to have to combo it out whilst just doing enough to survive.
Yep, which I think he can get a little bit scrappy in this one. The damage does pick up, and the fact that there are Illidar Inquisitors in the deck makes things a little bit scary. But Garrote Road can still do Garrote Road things, and if you're keeping the board in check even just a little bit, it does take some time for Death Rattle Demon Hunter to ramp up, especially since Fled does have some techs that are there that may not be quite as good. But Glide can be fantastic against Garrote Rogue in the right spots.
Yeah, it's in fact it's what makes the OTK Demon Hunter versus Rogue such an interesting matchup. Is both sides sort of trying to use that glide to their, well, not the advantage, but the Rogue is favoured in a world where it doesn't get glided in that matchup, and so the tiptoeing around trying to get just enough so you're still favoured if you still get glided is really interesting, and we might see some of that in this, although he's going to have the added problems, is Monsanto, that he's going to be getting hit in the head whilst trying to do it.
Yep.
So yeah, with that in mind, the only way to fight for board realistically is to have your own, given that when you take down one of these minions, it just comes back if you shoot them with pen flingers and things.
Yep. Oh, not what he wanted to see. An Octobot off the Shroud would be quite good.
Would indeed, young man. It would indeed. Oh, yeah. This is one of those turns where you start looking for other things to do because the Shroud's likely not going to be great, but that is great. TJ?
Hi-ya.
Are we going to see the lesser spotted double field contact just to get some board and draw a million cards and try and fight from there?
Oh, yeah. Probably not, but I'll give you an oh, yeah.
That's all I ever wanted.
Oh, yeah.
We've done points, boats, dollars, and an oh, yeah to go in. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
How many different oh yeahs can you do? And don't do them. I need you for the rest of the broadcast.
Oh, yeah. That one's saved for special occasions normally.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't even deliberate, but I'm going to pretend it was. Right.
It looks like Fell Rattler is the pull. I think he was playing the other 3 regardless. I think coin this game wants to be saved for the Deathbringer Blackthorn. Usually you can win the turn after and hope that the Garrote Rogue does not kill you up until that point. A little bit scary for Monsanto to see this on the board. These, I guess, Fell Rattler can go away quite easily, but it also, at the same time, very likely removes your entire board in the process. Tend to have a lot of 1 health things.
So he can Octo and then kill off the Rattler. That looks like fun.
Theoretically, could just Octobot. The only punish would be... Oh, no, I see it. Yeah. Well, like saving the Brain Freeze for discount for the draw and field contact.
This was interesting. He chose to, because I think he's going to go double contact, because he chose to not get the spell discounted from the One Thief and float a mana instead.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Oh, coward.
I think you tend to overestimate the amount of times that players should go for the double field contact.
Yeah, I probably...
I can tell you're really passionate about it, though, which is great.
You draw a Shadow Step so often if you're drawing 2 cards at a time.
True.
That you get to draw your whole deck, and then you put a contact back in your hand, and then you've got a good hand.
Sorry, that was involuntary.
It's okay. But on this occasion, I understand it, because he had Org Merchant as one of the cards he had to play to keep the chain going, and it's not a card he wants to play. So it does make more sense not to go double this time, I guess. Sad about it, but I think it's right.
Choose soon.
We want to Shadow Step something, surely.
Maybe he wants to save it for next turn with the second field contact?
Sure, okay.
For my discretion.
Okay, this makes sense. Yeah. So he's doing what you said, except he's doing it now. It's the exact same thing. He draws an extra card at some point, but he's getting the card earlier.
The difference being is sacrificing the ability to use that Shadow Step on like a prize plunderer to clear up some of the board, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But similar nonetheless.
We'll cut right to the chase.
Yeah, and he's going to need to clear up some board, because Fled has done basically a clear of his own, ready to start doing the damage, but it has got to turn 6. Monsanto is down to only 13 cards in deck, and Fled hasn't managed to basically inflict any damage at all, so Monsanto doing a good job so far. Okay, that got better.
Yeah, got a lot better. You dump all this stuff.
Muzzle their magic.
Yeah.
Wait.
Efficient is sufficient.
Thought he'd swindle, I must admit, but he's saving the draw.
Yeah, he wants the other side of his hand to be discounted. Still dumps the cards, right? So that's the big...
Yeah.
He just wants all of this stuff to be discounted. He's actually pretty close to a win, to be honest.
Does this change much? It probably doesn't, actually.
It's so slow. It is so slow. The Cold Neophyte was incredibly timely, though. That's going to be a big, big deal.
And I think Monsanto did it on purpose. Like, to some degree, I knew he drew it, so he played it from the passage, but I think he looked for it on purpose. Because he knows there's a coin there that Fled's not been playing as Death Rattle Demon Hunter that wants an early curve. Like, I think he got the hint. Still slow, but glides on the left again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it's with a watch post.
So many options.
It's so slow though.
Yeah.
You thought the last one was slow, but look at how slow he can make this one.
I wonder.
However, I guess, looking at Fled's hand being slow, Monsanto has drawn absolutely awfully from that glide.
Choose syrup.
Well, with only one field contact left, that's like the biggest thing he would like want back.
Sure. Would you shadow step the Octobot to sort of reset everything when you get your field contact?
Yeah, but I don't want to shadow step it now, I don't think, just because you have no plan for it for the time being.
Yeah.
Alright, well there's the Inquisitor. Clock's ticking. Sort of.
Quite interesting there that he kept the fireball back, because I doubt that Fled ever heals for more than the 10 that's on the already been taken.
The pack will feast on your bones.
He might need to kill a minion with it, I guess.
Yep.
Right, here we go again, gliding around. Oh my goodness, Monsanto has just missed everything. Whole bunch of plundering gonna go on here.
So many.
His hand didn't get better, but it didn't get that much worse, right? Like,
it's just... It's
both
just
hands did nothing, so he went from do nothing in one way to do nothing in a different way.
Yeah, it's like he lost $20 out of his wallet and didn't know it, and found $20 that was already his in the street. He's like, oh yeah, found $20, but it was his $20 all along. So he was expecting something good to happen, but it didn't.
Look what I
See how I adjust currencies for the area where I'm working? That's how versatile I am.
Awesome. Love it. I mean, at this point, yeah, you might as well kill it. Like, you killed the first one hoping there was nothing there. You might as well kill the second one hoping there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's close to lethal if you factor in, he's allowed to hit a bleed or two.
Up. All right. Third glide. Nope. Don't want that. It's probably Spectral Sight.
Yeah. So he's getting nowhere. He's just shuffling cards and drawing some cards, playing some cards,
Pleasure doing business.
taking some damage, bit by bit. Can't find what he's looking for. Which is, presumably...
Anything that impacts the board. I mean, he's got the discounted Inquisitor now, along with Felsil Executioner, but he hasn't stuck any damage. Like, Monsanto's been ahead on board this entire count.
Oh my goodness, what's going on?
Oh.
He might still get there, but... In fact, he probably will still get there, but it's just absurd.
Yeah. So all that goes face.
If you're going to be watching us all weekend, just remember that this is what Glide can do to a Rogue. Going to come up again. It's not usually quite this brutal, but it's why it happens. Why it's there.
So many options.
Oh, Fled kind of needs to play the Inquisitor just to stay alive.
Yeah. So Monsanto can remove this if he goes Shadow Step, then
Yep.
and Plenflinger again.
And it's huge because he's just trying to get those tiny bits of damage to finish it off, right?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, with dagger hits and there's a Garrote in deck, he's just getting back the Penflinger just to make sure that if field contact is the draw off the top.
Now this changes, though. Now he can clear without taking damage.
Yeah. And still get the Inquisitor. can't get the Inquisitor online, but that's fine. Is
You
it
get it
fine?
on the board. He just plays it, right?
Yeah, he just plays it, yeah. And rush in. And then next
You win
turn,
the race,
that's
you win the race.
16 plus 5, that's 21.
Yeah. And you take 1.
Yeah, but you need 2 turns. Monsanto would then have 2 turns to find a draw. Find a good draw. There it is!
Oh, well.
Fireball! All right, cool. Let's wait a second. That's brutal.
That was bitty at the end. I don't even think anything was bad happening. It's just the glides made it so awkward. But Monsanto did a really good job of using limited resources to stop Fled winning the game. He knew he needed to go all in. He realised where this was going if he tried to do it the proper way.
Yes.
So he just dumped everything, including the pen flinger, apart from the very end where he put it back in his hand just in case, onto the board.
Yep.
That was really cool.
Yeah, played for tempo when he realized that he absolutely needed to play for tempo. With a Fireball shuffled into his deck, and even just like Garrote top decks, right? I think that was just a very clean game overall from Monsanto. So 2-1 up now, and keep in mind this is the winner's match. Even though this is the first time we've seen Monsanto played, we've mentioned it before, but because he got first seed in the regular season, he got a bye in his first match, essentially a free win against the 7th, 8th place person in his group, which was McBannerface. So he only needs 1 match win to make it into the top 4 for Sunday. Glad we just saw him beat Language Hacker, so it'd be a pretty good run from him, but Monsanto's 1 game away now.
Yeah, and he's in a good spot, I think, getting that Rogue out of there. He's going to have his own Demon Hunter. Is there anything funny in this Demon Hunter? I seem to remember this was kind of normal.
Yep, it's pretty normal. It's just normal OTK Demon Hunter. A couple of Glides, an Il'gynoth, a couple of Moarks, a Quest.
Yeah, I saw Final Showdown. I thought, what's Final Showdown? And I realised that I'm a silly person. Because all the quests should just be called Quest, right? Because that's all we ever call them. But yeah, this just looks straightforward. One of the most powerful decks in the whole of Hearthstone right now. In fact, Monsanto has just brought the good stuff for the large part, but he's teched the good stuff pretty sensibly, like taking the Felmore out of Hunter, that sort of stuff, putting the altars into Warlock. Just the tiny tweaks, but there's no tweak at all in this unless you want to count the 1 Viper, but that's pretty normal, I think.
Yeah.
In fact, it is just straight up normal. Nothing exciting to add.
No, it's... you got that 1 spot, and you might as well tech it against some of the things you could see throughout the weekend, because Poison Rogue was pretty popular last week. So, and it can't just be game-ending against that deck. But we shall get into it. The biggest change from last week to this week is the inclusion of Altar of Fire in a lot of the decks, and a lot of the Warlock decks, which can be... You could stick threats and then sort of play an anti-combo style later on in the game and discard combo pieces at any point. It also gets you closer to Baron Scavenger, Bloodshard Bristleback, and the like.
I can't remember why we all took it out. Like in the very early Warlock decks, Altar of Fire was played. And then, for some reason, it was taken out, and I can't remember what the reason was. Whatever the meta was, wasn't conducive to it for some reason. Well, this is looking good for Monsanto, oh my goodness.
Quite the powerful start.
Yeah. Okay.
Spirits are also good.
Now he's got to plan like his next 2 or 3 turns, right? It's no point to just draw cards for the sake of it. You can actually work out now how many cards you want to draw, how you want to complete the quest, what turn you want to play Kurtrus just about from here.
Yeah, this turn you can Spectral Sight, coin trade the Guild Trader, already equip the Tusk Piercer and attack with it to set up for quest completion in the next turn. A lot of good stuff going on.
Exactly what he does. The advantage for how it's gone for him so far is that he might not have to play the acrobatics before he gets Kurtrus down. That's kind of the aim, if you can possibly do that, right? Because then Acrobatics is so nutty if you get to keep it after Kurtrus because you tend to draw 4 cards from it.
Yep. Okay, so there's double jump will not hit any draw because he's already got the spectral sights, so it'll hit like
Pleasure doing business.
I-beam, glide. I guess glide is technically draw, but not any draw that he could use this turn.
Yeah. And probably doesn't want to for another turn anyway.
Yeah.
But now he's hit it in a position where it's going to get buried, which is annoying for him. Not that annoying, you can still just play it later, but yeah. Awkward little turn.
Pleasure doing business.
Reduced a whole bunch of nothing. Yeah, now he's got the Mohawk, it's alright.
Yeah. Well, he still reduces the glide, which can be important. It could also just be like his quest completion next turn, right? If he really wants it, if he doesn't want to have to use Acrobatic Spectral Sight and wants those to stay in the deck for post-Kurtrus.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he rates this glide, because that's the... For the reasons you just gave, with the Spectral Sight and the Acrobatic staying in the deck, that's kind of the go-to here, but you really want that glide to take the Handlock's hand away later on. This will be informative.
Okay. I wonder if he wants to, as weird as it sounds, like I-beam first and then glide?
Just to get it out the deck so that there's less I-beams to draw?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I-beam, especially compared with like Arcanist and Moargs later on in the game, to try and heal back up or take out a big target is too important.
Sometimes you just win the game with it as well in some emergency situations. Just kill your opponent with I-beam life gain.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those turns that I described quite often where he spent the whole turn trying not to do the thing we could all see, including him, and just couldn't find anything better in time, so did the thing we could all see. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
And that's a heck of a glide, by the way.
Yeah, gets more card draw right back. Kurtrus going to come down on 5. He's not under a lot of pressure right now. Fled's going to continue to tap. Flesh Giants still cost 5 at this stage, so can't get it out. Nothing's died, so can't even get raised at online. This is kind of the ideal situation that we're looking at. Still, though, a draw that could change things for Fled would be that Altar of Fire, right? If Il'gynoth is burned, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Monsanto to win.
Absolutely. Do you think he'll go for that sooner rather than later now as well if he gets the chance? Because, yeah.
If he gets the chance, sure, but I don't, like, will he get the chance? That's the biggest question.
Could just play the... you just heal back up. But play the Battlemaster, ignore the 7/7, hit your opponent in the face and hope it gets there.
Push 16.
So much healing in the Demon Hunter, but they have just glided so that you don't know what they've got.
Yeah.
Better. This sets up lethal for next turn.
Even with this card draw, mana is still a pretty big limiting factor now. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, you were saying? If he's going to draw more cards for free here, he has to get rid of both of these. It's a thing he can consider, though, right? He can do that.
Yeah.
I grow impatient.
He hasn't played any Moargs or Arcanists yet, so he can just get rid of. He can play those two now and gain a load of health and draw 2 more cards and just try and get through his deck in 2 turns.
So it would be. That's tough though. Which one would you do first with the Arcanist? I guess Immolation Aura would clear more stuff. It would leave one. He could still clear the Flesh Giant with the weapon swing.
Yeah, he's actually just going to take some damage, but preserve a Moarg. That is kind of sensible. Let's face it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Il'gynoth's picked up, so now we're looking at what, like Fellscreen Blast. If Fled were to pick up Alter Fire to discard, because that'd be the second Fellscreen Blast, and then it'd be still possible but more difficult because you'd have to do it with I-Beam instead.
Sure. Yep.
Fled to put more threats on the board though.
He needs to represent lethal every single time to try and give Monsanto at least some issues with all the drawing of cards, make him slow down drawing to actually take time out to kill things. And he can do that. He's got some big stuff. He can just do that. Just make the things. He's fine. A couple of big giants.
Yeah, no big deal.
Put something in between them so it's hard to get rid of both.
Almost out of time.
That'll do.
Yeah, Torghast's a nice pickup just to not have a full hand at the end of all this.
Yeah, it just also separates the giants, right? Because Fellscreen Blast would only kill 3 things, and now you've got to fiddle around to kill the 4th.
Ooh, okay.
Is that lethal? Not quite. It's
Nope.
getting there. Is that lethal?
Spectral Sight can still. Oh wait.
So the I-Beam is 12, and the Blast is
16. Yeah, that's lethal.
Oh, but he's a mana short. My bad. On the I-Beam.
Oh, he gets 2 more draws from Acrobatics. Oh yeah, the Spectral Sight costs 0 because he's got 2 Illidari Studies buffs.
Oh my. Guild Trade, so it's lethal next turn any way he wants it.
But he's dead.
Well, you can kill so many things though, right? He doesn't play Il'gynoth now and just heals up and kills some of these big things.
I think he ran out of time.
Yeah, I think he needed to hero power down the 1/1 before doing that, right? And then he had to kill both giants.
Yeah. I mean, still though, he's alive, right? So that's a big thing. But that second Fellscreen Blast used, that's also double Moarg plus the Guild Trader used, which means that he would have to kill with I-Beams and a single Talented Arcanist?
Oh.
Question mark?
Let me have a check as well on the old what cards left to rue. Oh, it's not working for me. It says everything's left in the deck. Something broke it. Oh, the sigils break it, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, that last turn felt like he didn't need to play all of the spell damage out there. He needed to do quite a lot of it, but not all of it. And he needed to hit his face into the 1/1 as well.
Muzzle their magic.
Fled with a neophyte. It's going to make it difficult.
Yeah. And by difficult, you mean probably near impossible.
I mean, I trust you, and if what you're saying is right about what's left in the deck, he needs to stick an Il'gynoth. He needs to stay on the turn against on the board against Handlock for at least 1 turn to get the attacks in. That seems unlikely.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Monsanto going to concede. rough game. Honestly, he seemed on track. He had a turn 5 Kurtrus, had card draw to back it up, but Flood's threats came online right on time. And of course, as Handlock does, just kept playing down those threats one after the other, and was just able to get it done from there. So now we move on to game number 5, which is going to be Demon Hunter versus Demon Hunter. So it's a mirror match in that sense. However,
yeah, Fled has the
Death Rattle.
I'm just looking at this. I think that Monsanto actually had the win here. Not on that turn, but I think he had to just use enough resources to not die, and I think he wins the turn after every time.
Yeah,
I like saying that because Monsanto's good.
So it's a Cold Neophyte. It starts to get tricky because the potential lethals might have baited him, right? Because he's like counting his mana, counting damage for lethals, and then realized late probably when he had to bail out and go for removal. And so then the turn ended up not being clean because that's probably just wasn't on his mind from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did was say there's lethal there, but I needed one more mana. And I wouldn't be surprised if the first thing Monsanto saw is there's lethal here, but I need one more mana, except twice as quickly as me.
Yeah.
And from there on, you've got to get it out of your head and look at your turn. I'm not saying like he fluffed an easy turn. I'm just saying I think he fluffed the turn because it was hard and he got in a mess. But still got a chance. Remember, it's double elimination. Neither of these players lost yet, so they will get another go after they lose this. If they win their next one if whoever loses this wins their next one, they still get through to Sunday's semi-finals. But the winner is straight there and has a whole day to put their feet up.
Yep. Unlucky for Group B. They don't have a whole day to put their feet up. They have half a day to put their feet up, but, you know.
They have today. They can put their feet up today and just,
yeah,
calm down. I'm sure there's no pressure,
Oh, yeah, none. Yeah, none whatsoever, Last chance to qualify for the World Championship for this year, worked all season, potentially all year for this chance, and... Yeah.
No stress.
No stress.
Right, what have we got? We've got a glide that will be on the left-hand side for Fled and decent early minions with the coin. That looks like a good start for him. Monsanto has card draw available, but he's going to be up against so much damage coming in so early.
Ooh. Yep. This is quite a good hand from Fled, honestly. Has the Death Rattle chains to roll, has Cold Neophyte, has the glide, has the mixture of disruption plus forwarding his own game plan. It all seems like it's coming together quite nicely.
Yeah, you can see just here already, and Monsanto's not even going to let it happen, but if it happened, the Neophyte just shutting down Artificer and Blast, and it is going to happen now.
Muzzle their magic.
And of course, I say that like it's easy. Oh, you just use your Moarg and your Fell Scream, and then you've lost 2 pieces of your combo and not advanced your quest. Great. Good turn.
Yeah. I'll take one of those.
Yeah. I'll buy a whole pack. Okay. Going to be one of those games where Fled also gets to use his glide as reload as well as disruption. Because the disruption's weird, you don't do it until they're on at least the second part of their quest, or you just help them.
Yep. How do you beat this? Oh, okay. that's a good start.
It's a good start. Or he does have the option to just get all of his health back, but he doesn't need to panic about the health.
Yeah.
It sure seems like it'll do the job.
Yeah.
How do you complete your quest is probably what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the secondary objective of this current predicament he's found himself in.
Okay, I think that's fair. Because he dies in 2 turns if he worries about this quest.
Yep. So this is actually pretty smart because the death rattles will resolve and then the second immolation orb will go off. So now he's... and yet there's still something on the board.
Yet here there's a 4-3. Yeah. Took like 2 attack off the board or something. It took about 4 attack off the board. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Demons.
Oh, it's so grim.
He's just deciding whether or not he wants to trade the Persistent Peddler because right now it's not really doing anything. It's not like contributing to his quest completion. He's thinking about whether or not he wants he would need that. Okay.
They're not actually that good, are they?
No, Kirchhoff's is something to just put on the board, I guess, right? Like,
Yeah.
at this point, he's reasonably close to killing Monsanto, but reasonably close is not where you want to be against OD Demon Hunter because they can just heal it back up.
Yeah, you basically have to kill them twice, right? You sort of have to get them down to this once and force them to panic, heal, and then you've got to do it all again with less resources. Fled's dilemma is this glide. Monsanto's still on the first part of the quest, I believe, so the glide would complete it, and he just doesn't want to do that. But he wants to fill his hand up.
Demons. Demons.
The way I see it, you got to complete your quest at some point, right?
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, this is the play I was talking about earlier that you really don't want to make, but Fled's sort of, well, the deck has made him do it. Just getting rid of combo pieces.
The deck made me do it. Monsanto has tempo.
It does. He's got control of the board. He's got more to gain from the glide. That's a pickup.
Yeah, it's something to play, right? That's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, it gives him a chance to just pick up Illidari next turn, which would just change the... well, would continue the game on the path that he's currently set.
If Blood had played a minion last turn or didn't play anything last turn that wasn't Raging Fell Screamer, I would think about even tempoing out the Oganoth, to be quite honest with you. But right now, 6 mana with a Raging Fell Screamer in play could mean that the Illidari Inquisitor would be able to come down. So,
Yep, and that would be GG. And he knows there's something in Fled's hand. Like, he might have a good idea it's Glide and Blackthorn, to be honest, but he knows there's an expensive card in the right-hand side. He's very suspicious of the left-hand card, which is why he keeps going all in every turn.
yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if he just unloads a Rush Rod Viper here. Just plop it up, plop it on down.
Viper it up, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Were these the 2 acrobatics?
Short.
Those were the 2 acrobatics cards, okay.
Yeah.
He can take the risk and trade this away, and if he hits another tradable, then he completes the second quest. But then he doesn't want to do that, because then it just gets glowed away.
Good call.
Tempo.
He's just played the Viper.
Eh.
Tempo Snake. Movies that were never made.
Cut right to the chase.
But Fled's going to get to turn 7 with the Blackthorn, and that's going to eat up any remaining removal that Monsanto can get his hands on.
Yep.
Fled's got the predicament of whether he needs to kill this snake or not.
Ooh, bold choice. Oh.
That's quite a tough one, right?
Yeah.
Because now he's giving up a value trade the other way.
All right. Tempo the Elgi.
I mean, it's a big thing.
Ah, he's gonna get his Kurtrus Glid.
Demons.
Yeah.
Though, if Fled does have to play Glide next turn, it means he's not playing Blackthorn. Though, and if he plays Blackthorn, it kind of blocks the Kurtrus anyway. Obviously, Monsanto can't know an ounce of that information that I've just dispersed.
No, he
Might be
can
able to
maybe
have
divine the
a-
glide.
Grows short.
Yeah.
Pleasure doing business.
Kind of gotta go with whatever he was gonna do.
Yeah.
Not gonna give the taunts over. Okay. Leaves 3 damage on board. Fine.
So he's gone with a glide is so bad for me anyway, I'm going to do nothing else to hurt myself. Like, if I get glided, it's so bad that I might as well keep these in my hand as well, because if I don't get glided, then I'm in a good spot. Or in a spot. I don't know if it's a good spot looking at this.
Hey-ya! Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Kurtrus cannot come down this turn.
Right. Absolutely.
Well,
Well, there's no card draw to go with it, so it's kind of hurting yourself for no reason. I guess there's 2 tradables. How close is he to lethal? What does he need to do to get lethal next turn?
discount everything.
Demons. Demons.
He could put Fled on not having damage and just play Kurtrus in an I-beam. He'd be at 15, he'd be 12 on board. He wouldn't die to Tusk Piercer. He'd die to a corrupted Fellsteel Executioner. He wouldn't die to Inquisitor, because his turn... Oh, no, he would die to Inquisitor, because there hasn't been a Demon played after the Raging Fell Screamer.
But then if he drew anything, he probably just wins the game. But he'd have to draw it, like, off the top. After the Kurtrus.
I got it all.
Alright, well... He went for the safe play, I guess.
He said that with such disdain. Come on, it's the playoffs. Risk everything.
He wouldn't have died if he went with my play. Obviously, I have the glorious advantage of caster vision.
We have to have some advantage to be able to talk about these players.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have died.
Double Illidari! Nobody expects the Illidari Inquisition.
This lethal over 2 turns is essentially guaranteed for Fled. Is it lethal over 1 turn? He's going to stick for 8. Then it would be another 9. No. Still needs 2 more turns.
Grows short.
Yeah. But with no reduction and no combo pieces from Monsanto?
Yeah, but he gives him like 1 turn to find Kurtrus. I mean, the big thing we have to mention is the Fellscream Blasts are gone. Oh, okay. He played the Illidari, so we just can't see. Skull?
Warlock.
Don't see that.
Oh, TJ!
Okay. 0
5
mana
cards
I-beam. Wait, he's got a Guild Trader on board.
He does?
Doesn't matter. He's just going to tempo it out, but it's going to get killed by the Illidari Inquisitor. This is the play that I wanted to make 3-4 turns ago.
Yeah, it was quite a lot better then as well, but it was very hard to actually put him on it, like you said, without caster vision.
Yep.
Although, it didn't look bad.
All right, so now Monsanto has to win with a 7/7. Kurtrus, essentially. Or a bunch of tempoed trading minions. But we can see that he is dead from hand from Fled because he's got the second Ildar Inquisitor. Yeah, this one looks quite over for Monsanto. Took the risk, didn't quite pay off.
Just looking if he's going to be forced into accidentally gliding to see work.
It's the last card. That's how it goes.
It's always the last card. Jace is always the last card. I think they know. It's like quests are always the first card. And pretend quests like Kurtrus and so on are always the last card. Jace, Il'gynoth. When you need them. Oh, we saw it twice, didn't we, with Killing All Day last week? Just Demon Hunter cards just hide in your deck.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it entirely doesn't matter. Flood is going to kill Monsanto no matter what he does this turn. Yeah. Last turn, honestly, he also had to tempo the Il'gynoth because he had literally nothing left that even synergized with it, right?
Right.
That was his last I-beam. Throws the hat in the air. Well, he kind of pumped it in the air. Fled. 2-0 in the group. Moves out, defeats the #1 seed Monsanto, and moves on to the top 4. 2 matches away now from the World Championship. I had to lean in so far, even when I said that, I didn't think I was going to be on camera. That's how much it means. What a lad.
6 group wins in 8 weeks for Fled.
Incredibly impressive. And, you know, what a time for it to all come together, right? He expressed his frustration, you know, a little over halfway through the season that he felt like he was performing so well. But from anybody outside looking in that's not super familiar with Grandmasters, it didn't look like he was doing well. He was accruing points. He was being super consistent, winning his group week after week. And you know what? When it boils down to it, this is a group.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, this is a 6th. Yeah.
Oh, this is a 6. Wait, isn't it 7?
Yeah. He did 5 out of 7 in the regular season.
Oh, I thought he did 6 out of 7. My bad.
And then he's done another one today. Sorry, yeah. This is the 6th one.
Yeah.
It's still amazing.
Yeah, but oh, no, this is good. This is good because his downfall was always Saturday. Okay?
Yeah.
But by winning this group, he bypasses Saturday completely. Actually, you know what?
By being
success
in
all
this
along
group
came from drawing into Group A, which is Friday.
Yep.
So
Saturday's not Hatterday. It's just a different day.